der FC Bayern am Tegernsee. Viel Spaß beim Spiel.
Und das bei wunderbaren hochsommerlichen äußeren Bedingungen über
A wonderful welcome to you all in wonderful summery conditions, over 30 degrees. We've got a sold-out stadium, 2,800 fans in attendance here at Tegernsee, where FC Bayern München have been having their pre-season training camp, and today will take on Rottach-Egern. And that includes many of the World Cup returnees who will be making their first appearance for Bayern in pre-season. When it came to the impressions we've gotten from the training camp, the special atmosphere and the connection with the fans, we talked to Sporting Director Christoph Freund before the game. So every year, almost every year, Bayern once again in the wonderful Bavarian neck of the woods at Tegernsee. Talk to me about how special and important these days are for Bayern and the fans. I think it shows the connection between Bayern and the region, between Bayern and the fans. I think you see what went on the last couple of days. There was a lot going on. The weather was wonderful, and it's a chance to get up close and personal for these fans, to some of the Bayern players. It feels like a tradition now to be taking on Rottach-Egern in pre-season, and it's something special for the players as well. But I got here with my bike, and you meet people that all talk about Bayern München, and the fact is it's a wonderful week, and has been a wonderful week for the region. What would your sporting analysis be of the training camp here? Well, of course, it was a time where different players came back at different times, of course, including the World Cup players, and so as a result we weren't able to train with a big group until recently, but the intensity is there. You can see that the fun factor is back ahead of the start of the new season. We've had wonderful conditions as well, and ultimately, hopefully we can make a positive conclusion to things with no injuries in a game today against Rottach-Egern. Where is the focus placed when it comes to a game like today? And will we see some of the World Cup returnees? Yeah, all of the World Cup returnees will play half an hour. They're all working on their fitness, but they're all ready to get underway. On a sporting level, it's the type of game that we don't have too often, and for a side that rarely play against a team like Bayern München, the fact is we want to score goals. I think there's a limit to the sporting possibilities, but hopefully we see a really good game of football and some nice goals as well. Hopefully it'll be a successful conclusion. And so off to our commentators and have fun with the first half. Well, this is a traditional part of any Tegernsee training camp as FC Bayern München take on 8th tier Rottach-Egern. For the host, a special, potentially once-in-a-lifetime experience against the German record title holders. For Bayern and some of their returning World Cup stars, a chance to rev the pre-season engines against a side they've scored 84 goals against in 4 previous meetings. James Thorogood, your match commentator, and delighted to have the pleasure of your company, extending the warmest of welcomes to you, the Bayern fans across the globe. Thanks for joining us on FC Bayern TV, YouTube or Twitch, whatever channel you've chosen. We're delighted to have you along. This is a game that now does feel like tradition for the German record title holders. Rottach-Egern, a side that regularly give up their training facilities for Bayern during the summer pre-season when they're not involved in tournaments like the Club World Cup, and that was the reason that this game didn't take place last season. But the last time these two sides met, it was Vincent Kompany's first ever game as Bayern head coach. Just think at how far Bayern have come since then. And now back in action against Rottach-Egern. Min-Jae Kim looking to spread the play. Loose ball was picked up by Tom Bischoff, the new number 8 in Bayern colours, following in some pretty illustrious footsteps when it comes to taking on that particular kit number. Uli Hoeneß, Lothar Matthäus. Paul Breitner. Of course, most recently, Javi Martinez and Leon Goretzka. But now that number belongs to Tom Bischoff. Palhinha with the ball out to Sacha Bouet. Overlapping run being made through the middle. And no chances taken as the ball is headed behind for a corner. This is the 5th meeting between these two sides. In the previous 4, Bayern have scored 84 goals and have conceded just 3. Oftentimes the first goal is the start of the waterfall effect in a game like this. But make no mistake, Vincent Kompany, the standards he sets, the expectations he has, these players will be expected to produce sharp performances when on the pitch. And the likes of Min-jae Kim, Hiroki Ito and the German internationals will only play half an hour, according to Sporting Director Christoph Freund. For them, it's as much about getting a few touches of the ball for the first time in pre-season as it is stretching the legs. But for players like Maicon Cardozo here, it's a chance to catch the eye. Nice ball into feet. Nice play here by Bayern. Sacha Bouet. Back to goal, goes to Bischoff. Bischoff lining up the shot! Oh! Tom Bischoff. Kilian Zimmer. Just about kept that one out. Rifled in by Tom Bischoff. Tipped onto the underside of the bar. A rip-roaring first effort of the game from a player who has said he wants to take on more responsibility. He wants to take the next step. Cheeky flick here from Tom Bischoff. Curled in towards the back post. No one there to get on the end of the delivery from Arijon Ibrahimovic. Back from his season-long loan with Heidenheim, where he did have some really positive moments despite a difficult campaign. In a match like this, sometimes there's a long way to go to get the ball back in play. We don't have the 20-odd ball boys or girls or people around the sidelines as we would at the Allianz Arena. A couple of volunteers trying to get the job done. Pressure applied there by Tobias Schlichtner, the man who scored when these sides met for Rottach-Egern last time. For now, Bayern looking for the first goal. Shot dragged wide. Felipe Chavez, the man who spent the second half of last season on loan with 1. FC Köln. One of a number of youngsters that was afforded the opportunity by Vincent Kompany to make his Bayern debut last season. Oh, nice touch by Ibrahimovic. Second one doesn't quite come off for him. Wins it back well and quickly. Chance to deliver. Picked up by Armindo Zeeb. And Zeeb looks to curl one. Got a touch out for a corner. Yeah, Bayern racking up the early chances as expected. But Rottach-Egern will prove stubborn for as long as possible against the somewhat star-studded ranks. Albeit still shorn of the likes of Harry Kane, Michael Olise, Dayot Upamecano, Luis Diaz. Now Ibrahimovic doesn't sit up for him. Bischoff first to the loose ball again. Finds Palhinha. Palhinha, who took a pretty heavy blow in a 50-50 in training yesterday. A couple of pictures showed a rather bruised shin, but clearly not enough to keep him out of action this afternoon. It was Sporting Director Max Abel who said that Bayern have been quite open and honest about the fact that Joao Palhinha, Sacha Bouet don't really have a role to play with Bayern, and as a result, don't really have a future with the club. Ibrahimovic, oh, that's a lovely little reverse pass. Chavez can't find the cutback, but again, Bayern settle for the corner. The young Peruvian who has already made his debut for the Peruvian national team, Felipe Chavez. Bit of a pocket rocket player, but very technically gifted, as he's shown in a couple of appearances for Bayern and as he showed in some bit part appearances for Köln. As that one's curled into the back post. Nodded home by an unmarked Filip Pavic. Rottach-Egern's resistance is broken. Ibrahimovic goes long with the corner. And no one there to even challenge Filip Pavic. He is a youngster that has already caught the eye behind the scenes for the part played in the Bayern Academy. Mentioned the fact that Maicon Cardozo, Felipe Chavez, a couple of the players that made their debuts under Vincent Kompany last season. Filip Pavic was also one of them. One of the youngest ever debutants. And now Bayern want more, as Ibrahimovic turns goal scorer, having been provider for the first. And that's how quick things can go in a game like this. In 4 previous meetings, Bayern have scored 84 goals against Rottach-Egern. And they've got 2 in quick succession. Ibrahimovic with an assist and a goal so far to kick things off in what already is turning into a routine pre-season friendly, as it always is against Rottach-Egern. They are a team in the Kreisklasse Zugspitze 2. Rottach-Egern, the Zugspitze, of course, is the tallest mountain in Germany. And down here at Tegernsee, where we're on the south side of the lake. This is a small town with an alpine feel. That crisp Bavarian air benefiting these Bayern players. Zeeb to Ibrahimovic again. Moved on quickly. Chavez wants a goal now, and Chavez gets a goal. Bayern are not going to show any mercy on a day like today. And it doesn't matter how many goals scored. It won't take the gloss off things for the Rottach-Egern players. But Vincent Kompany still has high expectations and demands of his players. And so far, early doors, they're meeting them. 3 goals from 3 different goal scorers. Filip Pavic with the first, adding on Ibrahimovic with the second, Felipe Chavez with the third. It was against Wolfsburg in the Bundesliga back in January that Chavez made his debut with a cameo appearance in an 8-1 win. There might be more goals than that this afternoon if Bayern maintain this pace. 3 goals every 10 minutes. Bit of quick maths. Should have close to 27 by the end of proceedings, and 27 is a number that Bayern have hit before. That was back in 2023. Matisse Tell scored 5 on that occasion. There were plenty of goals from big names. Musiala got 4. Marcel Sabitzer got 5 as well. Sadio Mane on the score sheet. Palinha doesn't really catch it cleanly. And a save to be made for Kilian Zimmer. Yeah. Adventurous, ambitious, courageous pass there from the Rottach-Egern goalkeeper as well. Min Jae Kim is really marshalling things at the back. Vincent Kompany complaining about a few fouls on the sidelines. I tell you what, it doesn't matter whether it's a Champions League semi-final second leg, as Chavez with a chance to get his second, and that is delightful from Felipe Chavez. Bit of individual brilliance on display there as he bags a brace either side of the 10-minute mark. 2 appearances for Bayern last season. 7 for FC Köln. No goals at senior level so far, but 2 now in this pre-season friendly for Felipe Chavez. One player that will be desperate to get on the score sheet, you have to think, Armindo Zeeb. A youth player that's never really made the breakthrough at Bayern. Has gone on a handful of loan spells at a variety of different clubs in a bid to gain game time confidence, to further his development. But can he maybe convince that he could be a valuable backup to Harry Kane? Because Bayern could do with one of those as an out-and-out striker. Oh, Manuba with the back heel to Ibrahimovic, whose touch lets him down at the vital moment. Bischoff spreading the play, but just overcooking the pass to Maicon Cardozo, who is a touch shorter than Michael Olise, who, of course, normally operates on the right wing for Bayern, part of that formidable front line last season that struck fear into the hearts of every opponent they came up against. Bayern as a unit were in ridiculous goal-scoring form last season. Boué on the overlap, Zeeb on the end of the cutback. Zeeb at a second attempt sees his shot blocked behind for another corner. First goal this afternoon came from a corner. I doubt it'll be the only one we see in that regard. Bischoff, little burst of pace. Looking to put it near the penalty spot where Joao Palinha was lurking. Now it's with Chavez again, looking for his hat-trick now. Not the cleanest of connections, and as a result, dealt with. Bayern applying a type of pressure that these Rottach-Egern players rarely ever experience. And now a chance. Cardozo, can he get amongst the goals? Maicon Cardozo from a tight angle. Can't get the better of Kilian Zimmer. Vincent Kompany watches on as he prowls the sidelines. Cardozo to Ibrahimovic. Little 1-2. Ibrahimovic gets it back. Palinha on the turn. Neat play by Bayern, just picking Rottach-Egern apart. Cardozo back out to Bischoff. Bischoff beats his man. And another looking to link up with Zeeb. Still Bischoff on the ball. Down by that byline. Back to Bouet. Now Cardozo, it opens up. Lays it off for Chavez. On to Ibrahimovic. Tight and congested on the edge of that penalty area. Manuba back to the opening goal scorer, Pavic. Palinha looking to clip one over for Zeeb, and it had to be pinpoint and precise, and it lacked the precision needed. Pavic using his body really well there. A bit of physical pressure applied on Armindo Zeeb, and it forces the turnover. Zeeb. It's a lovely ball out wide. Cardozo around the corner for Bouet. Bayern willing to be patient. And make no mistake, there's an element of training ground routine about all of this, but they need to go through the paces in that particular routine. The last time these two sides met in what was Vincent Kompany's first game in charge was the first time they didn't break the 20-goal mark against Rottach-Egern, scoring just 14. Bischoff with the corner, and Kim was up there. Just didn't connect with the delivery the way he needed to. More purchase needed on the headed effort. A bit of a poor pass there from Palinha, let down Ibrahimovic. Manuba has done well. Palinha now intent on atoning for the initial mistake. Long ball for Rottach-Egern, who have had absolutely nothing to work with going forward so far, which is not unsurprising. I don't think Bayern will be overly concerned about the amount of goals they score by the end of this game, but they won't want to concede. Here's Cardozo picking up some good positions out on the pitch. Maybe needed to move the ball a bit faster on that occasion. Instead, it's whipped to Bischoff. Bischoff now with a strike, and it's another good save from Kilian Fischer to deny Tom Bischoff. Can Rottach-Egern play their way out from the back now? A big ask of this side. Cardozo won the ball back to Bischoff again. He wants his goal, but he's not going to get it that time. Dragged well wide. A little nudge in the back there, but a rather dramatic dive to try and win the foul. I think it's fair to say that drew maybe a laugh from some of the home supporters that will be familiar with these Rottach-Egern players as much as they've turned out to see Bayern in action. Sold out home stadium of 2,800 fans in attendance. But make no mistake, if you're one of these Rottach-Egern players, you've probably got lots of friends and family that are in attendance wanting to see you in action against the mighty German record title holders. Don't want to do anything too embarrassing, else you'll be the butt of the joke in WhatsApp groups for a while to come, as Ibrahimovic is offside here. Brave from Fischer. Sven Ulreich with a rare touch. We might see Manuel Neuer in action later. One of those World Cup returnees that will get half an hour today. Min Jae Kim is the only one of those in the starting lineup, so we're approaching the half-hour mark. He'll make way at some point. Of course, João Palhinha not involved with Portugal. Zeeb strikes well over. Can't snatch at these efforts, that's the problem. Yes, we've had a couple of goals from just outside the penalty area. Yes, Bayern have a record of scoring heavily against Rottach-Egern, but this is where Vincent Kompany will be analysing even the smallest of details in a game like this. And Armindo Zeeb snatching at strikes instead of setting himself and ultimately making better decisions in the moment. Those will be the types of things that Vincent Kompany notices. Those are the smaller metrics of ability that can separate these players when it comes to who makes the breakthrough with Bayern and who doesn't. And make no mistake about it, not everyone will. Now we're going to have a hydration break, as they were known during the World Cup in North America this summer. Hosted by Canada, the United States and Mexico. Bayern, as always, well represented when it comes to World Cup tournaments, but for the first time in a very long time, there was not a single Bayern München player involved in that final between Spain and Argentina. And Bayern last season, domestic double winners with that almost record-breaking Bundesliga campaign. Well, look, they might not be in action. They might only be getting half an hour out on the pitch today, but these players, Jonas Urbig on the left, Manuel Neuer in the middle, and I think that was Joshua Kimmich on the right. Still limbering up, being put through their paces. There's Alexander Pavlovich and the new signing, Nathaniel Brown. His official unveiling yesterday. Saw him produce some rather short and snappy answers, mentioning the fact he doesn't really like talking about himself, but ultimately says that the first impressions of life with Bayern are good, that he is a player who, having been born in Bavaria, thinks it's a very special thing to play for Bayern, the biggest club in Germany. And ultimately, he uttered the words that every Bayern fan and coach wants to hear. I want to win titles. And Bayern are a very good club when it comes to fulfilling those types of hopes and desires. And Vincent Kompany's first season in charge produced a Bundesliga title. Last season, it was complemented, the title defense, by a DFB Pokal win about 10 weeks ago now against Stuttgart. The defending title holders in Berlin, a 3-0 win. Harry Kane with a hat-trick. Harry Kane, who on Tuesday celebrated his 33rd birthday, and I'm sure he's tuning in to coverage of this Bayern pre-season friendly, so assuming he is, happy birthday, Harry. Hopefully it was well spent, maybe with a round of golf or a day out with the wife and kids. Ultimately, one of the most well-earned holidays amongst the Bayern squad for Harry Kane. This little time off after the World Cup. But Bayern want him back, fit and firing on all cylinders once again. Ultimately, Harry Kane, one of the chief candidates to win the FIFA Ballon d'Or. Free kick taken quickly. Bischoff moves it on to Pavic. Now with Cardoso. Another ball. Breaks the lines to find Chavez. Chavez back to Cardoso. Bischoff takes over. Closed down quickly. Palhinha looking to win the 50-50 and does. Cheeky nutmeg there from Palhinha. Now Bouet. Palhinha tries to get the volley off, but too congested in the end for the Portuguese midfielder. Spent last season on loan with Tottenham. Joao Palhinha, almost relegated, but truth be told, he was one of the few players that popped up with some big goals in big moments for Spurs as they did survive the drop. One player who once scored a handful of goals against Rottach-Egern, Jamal Musiala. Bayern taking every precaution when it comes to his recovery and return. Don't want to take any unnecessary risks or put too much pressure on him. As a result, Musiala will be one of the big names, and not the only big name missing from Bayern's Asian summer tour. 2 days from now, on Saturday, they will make the flight to South Korea. There will be some live training sessions that you can follow on Bayern's various channels. And a couple of friendlies as well. The first on the 4th of August against Jeju SK. The second in Hong Kong on the 7th of August against Europa League champions Aston Villa. Cool, calm, collected defending there from Min Jae Kim. Palhinha now looks to break the lines again. And that has been a key part if you've tuned in for the live training sessions over the last 3 days from Tegernsee. A lot of the training routines are about breaking the lines and handling pressure. That's what Bayern are doing here. Bischoff. Shadowed. Now Cardoso. Oh, wrestled, but Cardoso tried to go on. Advantage played, Zeeb at the back post. The angle of the tightest variety. And on another occasion, I think Florian Mex might have been penalised for a foul there on Maicon Cardoso. Kim with a nice ball to Ibrahimovic. Found Chavez. But despite conceding 4 early goals, Rottach-Egern are remaining stubborn. Giving a relatively good account of themselves, you have to say here. The side from the Kreisklasse. Based on previous encounters, a 4-0 deficit is a respectable scoreline for Rottach-Egern. Ibrahimovic is one of the players that wasn't mentioned by Max Ebel when it came to not having a future with the club. The three players mentioned were Sacha Boey, Joao Palhinha and Brian Zaragoza. And there are minutes available as a backup to a certain Luis Lucho Diaz, the dynamic Colombian who had a debut season to dream of with Bayern. What a player he proved to be, what a signing. Bischoff finding a nice ball for Manuba, but a heavy first touch meant it resulted in no goal-scoring opportunity. Here we have the first change. As Sporting Director Christoph Freund pointed out, all the World Cup returnees will only get half an hour. Min-jae Kim got 32 minutes and is replaced by another returnee, Hiroki Ito. South Korea were knocked out in the group stages of the World Cup. Japan, well, they suffered a heartbreaking defeat to Brazil. 2 late goals, robbing them of the chance to maybe go a little bit deeper in the World Cup. And many believe that Japan were one of the dark horses and they were capable of beating Brazil. And I think based on what we saw, they certainly were capable of beating them. Brazil, though, found that little bit of Brazilian magic, though, to get the results over the line with 2 late goals. When it comes to his time with Bayern, Hiroki Ito will just be hoping for an injury-free season. Cardoso, Chavez to Bischoff, quick turn. And Bischoff, you can tell he's trying to set the standards. Bouet takes charge, clipped in, no one there at the back post. That's exactly where Ibrahimovic needed to be. In the end, put behind for a corner by the captain today, Ferhat Yilmaz'a, not to be mistaken for his brother Samet, who's normally the captain. Delicate delivery, met by the head of a Rottach-Egern defender. Bouet, round the corner to Palhinha, chance to cross. Heel flick clear, Ito keeps Bayern in possession. Manuba to Ibrahimovic, quickly closed down, but skips past the challenge. Palhinha lining one up. That's a better strike, but it's still straight down the middle and relatively easy for Kilian Zimmer to deal with. Oh, the shot from range just fizzing past the post. Helped on by Kilian Zimmer, who picking up a couple of personal highlights, even if he has conceded 4 times. I mean, that save to deny Tom Bischoff. That certainly will feature in the highlight reels of this particular game, and he's clawed that one out as well. The Rottach-Egern goalkeeper. Now the chance at the 5th, and it's cleared. With the keeper beaten, Cardoso's effort kept out by a defender who wasn't quite on the line. Technically provided the goal line clearance. Now Tobias Schlichner with a very rare touch of the ball, and I mean the ball recovery time here for Bayern. 3, 4, 5 seconds maximum, maybe. In terms of the way Rottach-Egern are giving the ball back to them, and you could hear Vincent Kompany there saying, keep the rhythm. That's what he wants to see. Just keep peppering the goal, keep breaking the team down, keep carving out chances, and maybe double-digit goals will once again be in the offing. Ibrahimovic Sees his cross block, but Rottach-Egern, they are getting stuck in. Not as much respect being shown to Bayern as maybe there have been in previous meetings. Of course, it's worth pointing out on other occasions, Bayern have been able to call upon the full strength of their squad. And the players that they have had at their disposal haven't been limited to just 60. Or excuse me, to half an hour of action, as the World Cup returnees have. Bischoff. Oh, what a ball that is for Zeeb. Well, Kylian Zimmer knew he was going to be in for a busy day at the office, given the fact that the rest of his side have just got their backs against the wall. He at least is producing a man of the match performance from the perspective of the home side, and were it not for him, Bayern would already probably be in double digits in the goal scoring column. Right now, they're having to be a little bit more patient than maybe they assumed, as Bischoff on the stretch finds Manuba. Manuba round the corner for Ibrahimovic. Forced wide to the byline. Corner again, the result of another Bayern attack. You can see what Z was trying to do. Now Bouet with a chance to strike. A lovely statement there from the Rottach-Egern head coach, who said, don't worry with us, there are still bellies involved. I think there were some mooted handball appeals there, but basically suggesting that the touch of that ball behind for a corner came off the belly of one of his players and not the hand. Cardozo. Bayern trying to work it in tight spaces. Bischoff finds Bouet. Nice footwork by Sacha Bouet. No shot at the end, but Bischoff now gets one off. Oh! Flush off the post from Tom Bischoff, who's now hit the bar and the post. Drawn a few wonderful saves out of Kylian Zimmer, and still he has not got his goal, Tom Bischoff. He scored Bayern's only effort of that 2-1 loss to VN Wiesbaden in their first pre-season friendly ahead of the start of the 26-27 campaign. Penalty won by the young Tim Binder and converted by the slightly older Tom Bischoff, but I stress slightly. But again, he has talked about wanting to take the next step. He's talked about wanting to take on more responsibility this season. Starts with a change of kit number. 3 goals in 39 appearances in all competitions for Tom Bischoff in his debut season, as Ibrahimovic tried to be cheeky there, but wasn't going to catch Zimmer out. Chavez unable to turn the corner after being fed to feet by Manuba, who can play at left back or right back, is more of a right back by trade, which is why it's somewhat surprising to see him featuring at left back with Sacha Bouet, the more experienced player, playing at right back. But Manuba's versatility will serve him well if last season is anything to go by. Corner again goes deep to the back post. This time there is a man marking Filip Pavic, and as a result, can't add to the goal that broke the deadlock. Well, last time these two sides met, it took Bayern 24 minutes to open the scoring. But after they scored 7 before half-time, with Tobias Schlichtner getting 1 back for Rottach-Egern in the mix, before adding another 7 in the second half to win 14-1. The time before that, in 2023, they were 18-0 up at the break. Azib can't pick out Chavez for number 5 this afternoon. It was 11-0 in 2019, and the first ever meeting in 2018, it was 7-2 at halftime. Kingsley Coman and Robert Lewandowski, 2 of 4 different hat-trick. Oh no, take that back. They were the 2 hat-trick goal scorers on that occasion. Sandra Wagner also scoring 3 back then. But right now, if anyone was expecting another 20-goal-plus performance, I don't think we're going to get it, which is fair enough. Can't always expect that to happen. Linie to Bischoff. Bischoff, who missed out on that World Cup berth with Germany, but narrowly by all accounts. One for the future. Cardoso tripped off the ball. Chance still alive here with Chavez to Zeeb. Zeeb forces himself wide. Back to Ibrahimovic now. They're queuing up in the middle. There's no head on the ball. Back to Bischoff it comes. Bischoff with the strike, and again, Zimmer denies. A little personal battle brewing between those two, Tom Bischoff and the Rottach-Egern goalkeeper Kilian Zimmer. Bischoff to Cardoso. Cardoso again. Linie again with a long-range effort. And again, relatively comfortably dealt with by Zimmer, unlike some of the efforts we saw from Tom Bischoff. Linie hasn't really forced him to hit peak performance levels between the sticks. Ito charged down by Schlichner, who has barely had a touch of the ball in this first half. That will go down as one of them. Cardoso might be one of the players that comes off at half-time, so his chance to really catch the eye, perhaps running out. Linie, another power drive attempt. Well blocked once again. You can hear the cry from the Rottach-Egern dugout. Come on, lads, no more goals conceded before half-time. Cardoso has other ideas. Good ball, back post. Ibrahimovic back across goal. Who's waiting? Well, Chavez was there, but he can't complete a first-half hat-trick. Needed a bit more power behind the effort. That was a nice bit of play, though, from Bayern. Poor pass from Rottach-Egern, and Linie wins it back quickly. Bayern working it neatly. Ibrahimovic gets a 5th before half-time. He has been involved in 3 of the 5 goals. 2 scored, 1 assisted. Ibrahimovic with one of the more eye-catching performances in this first half for Bayern. A bit of salt in the first half wounds for Rottach-Egern. But again, considering that they've been down by double digits at half-time against Bayern on occasion, a 5-0 scoreline is still somewhat respectable from their perspective. Lest we forget, these two teams operate in very different parts of the German footballing pyramid. It's a lovely ball to Cardoso. Lovely first touch as well. Cardoso, can he make something happen? Teeing up Bischoff. Nice ball into Chavez. Back heel to Cardoso! Maicon Cardoso in amongst the goal scoring. It looked like it was going to be a 4-0 half-time lead for Bayern, but they've produced 2 goals late on in the first half to make it 6-0. Maicon Cardoso, who has talked about wanting to show everyone who Maicon is. Well, there's a glimpse of what he's all about. Lovely little flick here from Chavez in the mix. And that front 3 behind Armindo Zib. Cardoso, Chavez, Ibrahimovic, all involved in the goals scored in this first half. And that's what Vincent Kompany said ahead of the game against Wien Wiesbaden, where he named a starting lineup full of teenagers, 16-year-olds in the mix, 4 of them. 1 19-year-old. Today, a few more recognised faces in the starting lineup. And Bayern in their traditional pre-season test against Rottach-Egern. Held to a 6-0 half-time lead. They've carved out a whole host of chances, but just 6 goals scored. Kilian Zimmer, the Rottach-Egern goalkeeper, playing a big part in keeping the scoreline respectable, but more goals expected in the second half. So the first set goes 6-0 in Bayern's favour. 4 early goals and then 2 late ones from Bayern, and ultimately very summary conditions. The atmosphere a little reserved, but enjoying the fact that the fans can get up close and personal with the Bayern players, even the ones getting warm on the sidelines. As a result, fans were able to go and get a variety of different selfies. Uli Hoeneß has been signing a variety of different articles, all about Bayern getting up close and personal and respecting that connection with the fans. We're going to see how things went with some behind the scenes at the training camp. Enjoy the clip.
Also Bezug auf die Adduktoren bekommst, genau. Kommt nie raus, ja, kann man vergessen. Mit dem Aufbauen und drück. Wieder auf. Das war das kannst du noch machen. Das war Wo warst du jetzt die ganze Zeit? Frühstücken. Servus.
Stefan Schlichtner ist bei mir, der erste Vorstand vom FC Rottach-Egern. Stefan, danke für deine Zeit. Erste Frage, wie zufrieden bist du mit der ersten Hälfte?
Ja, mit der ersten Hälfte, glaube ich, können wir sehr zufrieden sein. Wenn ich jetzt schaue, was war es jetzt, 8:0?
6:0.
6:0. 6:0 ist eigentlich der Oberwahnsinn. Starke Leistung von den Jungs, haben richtig gekämpft.
Yes, a strong performance from the players in the first half, but we are hoping for a little bit more in the second. So the fact is, I was talking to your head coach before the game. If you guys keep it below double digits, then it would be seen as a good game. You've got another 45 minutes, so what's left in this game? I'm not going to contradict what my head coach says, but I think in our 4 games against Bayern, there's only once that we've actually been able to keep the scoreline below double digits, and that was when we were in the Bezirksliga. The fact is, I'm expecting us to still put on a good performance and show a good side of ourselves in the second half. There's a lot of tradition involved in a game like this as well for Bayern. Take us on the journey a little bit. When do preparations begin for a game against Bayern, and why is it so special when Bayern are here? Well, the preparations begin at the start of the year. That's when we start scheduling a few games here and there. And the hardest piece of organization is the last month. That's when a lot of different requests come in, expectations come in as well, and that's why it gets a little bit more intense. And the fact is, you've got everyone involved in the club. Everyone wants to be involved in a game like this, don't they? Yeah, we've got a really good setup behind the scenes with this club. We don't need to beg very often to find motivated people that want to volunteer and get involved in helping the club for events like this. And that's why when we have days like today, I will do a lap of honor saying thank you to everyone involved, because it's not to be taken for granted. You look back at the years against Bayern, what's the most special thing that stood out in your mind? The goals that we've scored, all of them were a highlight. I think it's 2002, 2003. I think Ben Dreyer was still the goalkeeper, but we scored an equaliser, I think, in that goal. And it was a lovely volley, super strike in the corner, 1-1, and that really was exceptional. One last question. How much fun is it watching Bayern right now? Really is impressive. What an incredible atmosphere there is in this club, whether it's the coaching staff, whether it's the security staff. Everyone provides such a wonderful atmosphere, and that's why it's so much fun for us to be involved. That's why it's such a highlight for us. You notice the fact that the club are on a fantastic path as well. Thank you very much to the chairman of Rottach-Egern. Let's see how Bayern enjoyed the first few days in Tegernsee.
Servus, hi.
Manuel Neuer schreibt weiter fleißig Autogramme. Ich habe es vorhin schon mal angerissen. Der FC Bayern so nahbar wie kaum ein anderer Verein in Europa. Im Tor wird es auch ein Wechsel.
Manuel Neuer signing plenty of autographs ahead of the start of the second half, signing pictures, kits.
Den haben wir auch schon gegen Wien, Wiesbaden.
There is going to be a goalkeeping change at half-time. Sven Ulreich played the first half. David Hoda-Stiuber, the young 16-year-old, We'll start the second half, and then on the hour mark, we're going to see a lot of the World Cup returnees like Jonathan Tah, Alexander Pavlic, Joshua Kimmich. That's when they will come into the game. So the fact is, don't go anywhere. There's plenty of footballing fun to be had in the second half, even in the brutal summer conditions and the plus 30-degree heats, but enjoy the second half. And you're back with me, James Thorogood, your match commentator. Bayern down in Tegernsee as part of their traditional pre-season preparations, and as is part of the tradition when it comes to being in this neck of the woods, they are partaking in a friendly against local side Rottach-Egern that ply them their trade in the lower leagues of German football. Enjoying a special moment against the German record title holders. These sides have met 4 times in recent years. 84 goals scored by Bayern, but they only scored 6 in the first half today. Changes are being made at the break. David Podar-Stüber, as you heard Martin Zeltacek mention there, will be coming on for Bayern. But we're also anticipating Rottach-Egern making a rather healthy amount of alterations at halftime. Everyone wants their moment to brush shoulders with the German record title holders. And right now, a nice moment for those coming on at half-time. Chance to get a little applause from the home fans in attendance. And as mentioned in the first half, something tells me some of these players will definitely have friends and family here at the Stadion am Birkenmoos. Because for Rottach-Egern, these are special potentially for some of these players, once-in-a-lifetime moments to even take to a football pitch against the mighty Bayern München. And the German record title holders have shown their might. 6-0 up after a commanding first-half performance. They could have been in double digits in the goal-scoring department were it not for Kilian Zimmer, the Rottach-Egern goalkeeper, who produced a string of sublime saves to keep the scoreline by Rottach-Egern's measures a respectable one so far. As the chairman mentioned at half-time, only once before have Rottach-Egern managed to hold Bayern to single digits in the goal-scoring department. And that was over a decade ago now. The connection between these two clubs has been re-established in recent years. And now whenever Bayern come to Tegernsee, whenever they take part in a training camp using the facilities of Rottach-Egern, part of the deal is that they get to go head-to-head at the end of it all. Cardoso scored the last goal of the first half. He wanted the first of the second, but sliced up and over. And yes, it's a pre-season friendly, but Vincent Kompany is someone who has often talked about the fact that whether it's a pre-season friendly, mid-season friendly, or whether it's a Champions League semi-final or DFB Pokal final, he expects his side to play with the same level of hunger, ambition, determination. Easier said than done. The subconscious will play a part for many of these players, but look at what it means to these young fans, just being able to see these players in action. Maybe get a glimpse of the future with someone like Maicon Cardoso. Ultimately, it's the World Cup stars later. Those will be the big names that they were here to see. Paulinho picks up the pieces after another move broke down, given the fact that Rottach-Egern are getting plenty of bodies behind the ball. Ibrahimovic, cheeky ball. Now Bouet back to goal, tees up Chavez, and taken right on the dome by Marius Tretenhahn. I mean, that's brave defending, to say the very least. The fact that he stayed on his feet was rather remarkable. Another shot comes in. Chavez curls it just wide. Got 2 in the first half of Bayern 6. The young Peruvian. I'm sure he'd love to complete his hat-trick, given the fact that he might be one of those players that makes way on the hour mark when the World Cup returnees, the German internationals, get involved in the fixture. Bayern on the run again. Rottach-Egern, to their credit, are producing some disciplined defending. Yes, they're being forced onto the back foot. Yes, they're backpedaling, retreating almost at all times. No, they're not having much of the ball for any extended period of play. Oh, it's a good chance, and Cardoso, he might be one of the smaller players on the pitch, but when you're that unmarked to get a header on goal, sometimes height is irrelevant. And he plants that one home for the first goal of the second half. He opened the scoring after the restart, after closing it before the break. Doubles up in the goal-scoring department, Maicon Cardoso. Oh, Zeeb now can make it 8. And this is where Bayern will be ruthless. They need to show no mercy. And when confidence levels and heads start to drop amongst the Rottach-Egern players, the likes of Zeeb and company need to be there to punish and pounce. And that's what Armindo Zeeb was. We're getting closer to double digits. 2 goals in quick succession after the restart to go along with 2 goals in quick succession at the end of the first half. But here come Rottach-Egern. This is their best foray forward, and Schlichner with the chance and the shot. He was the goal scorer when these two sides met in Vincent Kompany's first game in charge of Bayern. A consolation effort, he called it crazy. A moment of club history and personal history as well, but unable to add to it there to be a Schlichner. Right now we've got a Bayern player down and in need of treatment, seemingly. A break in play and a chance just to wave to the family for Fethullah Sotsoglu. Yeah, it's an intimate ground, but binoculars will still serve you well. A request there for Tom Bischoff's kit. I'm sure it won't be the only poster requesting a collector's item after this game. Right now, one of the priorities for Bayern, if anything, the top priority would have been avoiding any injuries today. I think it's, and it is, Vincent Manuba, the player who went down. He's back to his feet, which is always a good sign. But you can tell he's not moving freely. There's a little ginger step in there as well. So he's clearly nursing something. Corner for Rottach-Egern. Headed clear by João Palhinha at the front post, and maybe a counter-attacking chance for Bayern. They're on the run. Zeeb getting ahead of Ibrahimovic. The pass deflected and ultimately landed behind the Bayern striker, who could not take it in stride. Instead, Rottach-Egern come back down the other end. They conceded 2 early goals in this second half. Now they're getting forward in a way that we didn't really see them ever do in the first. The flick of the heel doesn't quite come off. Fed out wide to Cardoso. One-on-one with his man, a chance to really turn on the pace. Maicon Cardoso forced out wide, down to the byline. He goes! Cross straight into the gloves of the new man between the sticks for Rottach-Egern. Mario Weiss. There is David Hodar-Stiuber. We'll be hoping to avoid a bit of a mistake like he produced in that first half against VN Wiesbaden, where he was the starting goalkeeper, had the first 45 minutes under his belt. And one slightly too courageous pass that was a little too hard hit ultimately led to Bayern conceding the opening goal on that occasion. But 16 years old, sometimes you've got to learn the hard knocks the hard way. And now with Manuba unable to continue, we're going to have Nathaniel Brown introduced to proceedings a little earlier than anticipated. He was meant to be one of the players that came on as part of the World Cup contingent from the German national team that entered the encounter on the 60-minute mark. Instead, forced to come on a little bit earlier, but a lovely moment. Nathaniel Nene Brown, the new number 11, taking to a pitch for the first time in a Bayern kit. Young lad signed from Eintracht Frankfurt, born in Bavaria. Now Ibrahimovic. Oh, he's put it wide. Keeper went the wrong way. But Arjan Ibrahimovic didn't quite get the angles right on that occasion. Cardoso looking for a better delivery. It's gone deep, but Ibrahimovic will try and make something of it. Cut back to Palhinha. Palhinha drills it bottom corner, and we are one away from double digits now. João Palhinha, who had a host of shots in the first half from distance that came to nothing, finally gets a goal to his name. Picked his spot. Put the ball right where he wanted it. It's another assist for Ibrahimovic. And Bayern move on to 9. It now seems only a matter of time before the 10th hits the net. Because, of course, lest we forget, when the Rottach-Egern players are tiring, that's when Bayern are going to bring on their German internationals off the bench for half an hour. And don't get me wrong, they're not going to be at peak capacity right now in terms of their footballing abilities, but that is not an enjoyable prospect for anyone in white and blue. Bischoff, he wants his goal too. Spilled by Weiss, but Rottach-Egern keeper gets there ahead of the on-rushing Cardoso. Schlichtner trying to win a corner with a bit of improvisation. Didn't quite pull off what he wanted to there. Sieb, ball over the top. Early headed efforts. He gets his second. And that is it. Double digits broken for Bayern once again against Rottach-Egern. It's happened before the hour mark. 10 goals scored. My 6 different players. 5 different players, excuse me. No, it is. I've got my notes correct. 10 goals, 6 different goal scorers. Sieb joins Ibrahimovic, Chavez and Cardoso on 2. The others from Pavic and Palinia. And now the goals are flowing freely for Bayern. Bischoff quickly closed down, so wasn't going to line one up there. Cardoso back to Bischoff on that favoured left foot. Tried to get cute with the pass, didn't quite get it right. More changes for the home side. Bayern will follow suit soon after, no doubt, and we'll have a hydration break coming up shortly as well. Not easy to keep track of them all as well, it has to be said. And they might have conceded double digits. They might have conceded 10 now, and they'll have a few more maybe to concede. But again, it doesn't matter how many times the ball hits the back of the net in Bayern's favour. It will take nothing away from this experience, this moment of sharing the pitch with some of these Bayern players. Bischoff to Sieb. Oh, Ibrahimovic, excuse me, who gets caught, goes down. No foul. There was definitely no ball won. There was definitely contact, and maybe if this wasn't a pre-season friendly, that would have been a different outcome. But moments like that can be taken with the proverbial pinch of salt. Bischoff to Ibrahimovic. Gets a shot off, but it was always rising. Is anyone going to get their hat-trick? Everyone is poised. Ibrahimovic is poised. Chavez is poised. Cardoso, Sieb. Take your pick. But again, those 4 players just mentioned, they might be candidates to come off when the German internationals enter the encounter, which I think is about to happen. This is the highlight moment. The big names, or some of the big names coming off the bench for Bayern. Alexander Pavlovic, Jonathan Tah, Joshua Kimmich, and a couple of youngsters as well. Got Guido Della Rovere, Bastian Asomo both coming on as well, along with Bara Sapoko Njai. Max Abel, the board director of sports, saying that there are just a few last details to clear when it comes to Njai's involvement. And there he is, the number 39. Got a handful of appearances in the second half of last season under Vincent Kompany, who clearly is impressed with his abilities and physical profile as well. But a bit of a complicated situation because Bayern need to deal with multiple clubs in getting the signing over the line. Things are a little bit more straightforward with Nathaniel Brown, because when Bayern came calling, he wasn't about to ignore the call. He was a standout player for Eintracht Frankfurt last season in a torrid campaign that featured a couple of head coach changes and a lot of negative press. He was one of the few that came out with glowing reviews despite the negativity. Cardoso, lovely, confident first touch, even more confident second, but a heavy one now. Njai. Tar to Brown. Combination for the German national team at the World Cup now. Moving forward, it will be a combination for Bayern. Azib twists and turns, gets the cross in. Blocked behind for a corner. Zeeb tried to be unselfish there. They can hear the screaming in the background. That will be some of the Bayern players that just came off the pitch being asked for an autograph or a photo or two. Kimmich provides a bit of chaos with his corner. Asomo back to Pavlovic. I mean, a team like Rottach-Egern will rarely have seen a corner delivered to the quality that Joshua Kimmich does. Here he finds Brown. Back to Kimmich. Cute pass for Asomo. Well taken, back heel. Oh, gets it back. Asomo! Oh, that would have been a big moment for the 16-year-old. He's been getting rave reviews from Vincent Kompany. Nice that he tried to be unselfish. Guido there, cut back to Njai. A rocket of a shot from Bara Sapoko Njai. $11 goals for Bayern. I think the Bayern players have been discouraged from shooting from range, but as Vincent Kompany said on the sideline there, if you're going to shoot, you better score. That shot was moving. One of the most eye-catching efforts we've had of the 11 scored. And now Asomo can get in the mix. Asomo! A baker's dozen of goals for Bayern. And Bastian Asomo, the young 16-year-old, with a moment he won't soon forget. It might be in a pre-season friendly against Rottach-Egern from the lower tiers of German football, but there'll still be something special about the first ever goal scored for the Bayern senior side. Cardoso. Round the corner it goes. And Njai now looking to turn provider. Asomo couldn't quite bring the ball under his spell. Pavic recovers from a heavy touch, and Njai. Positive play there from Njai. Njai. Teasing delivery. Asomo battles, gets bundled into by Rottach-Egern goalkeeper Mario Weiss. There is Max Abel, the board director of sport, on the left. Had to field some pretty tough questions in the official unveiling of Nathaniel Brown yesterday, because of course there's a lot going on in the world of football. And Abel, of course, was asked about everything from his communication with Michael Olise and the rumours swirling around Olise's future. He was asked about Bayern's transfer activity. Ultimately said that it's done and dusted. They have no plans to make any more moves, and that's why any links to any players are laughable in his opinion, because there's 0% truth to them. And of course he was asked about what's going on with the world governing football body known as FIFA, headed up by Gianni Infantino, and every bizarre idea he's coming up with right now to sell off football away from the fans. Cardoso, nice play. Guido Della Rovere. The space is proving too tight for the young 19-year-old midfielder. He was the oldest player in the starting lineup against Wien Wiesbaden. Guido Della Rovere at 19 years old, the man on your screen there. We just saw board director of sport Max Abel. There is CEO Jan Christian Dresen. The big decision makers are in attendance here. Hydration break in progress. So our discussions there between Max Abel and the sporting director Christoph Freund talked about how special it is and how important it is for Bayern to maintain the connection between the club and the fans, and that's why days like today, training sessions like we've had over the last 3 days at Tegernsee are so important for Bayern. Mir san mir. It is a motto and mantra that ultimately defines this club on the pitch and off it, and part of that is the family feel of it all. Vincent Kompany, a man who is never short of ideas, as Max Abel pointed out yesterday, saying that he's just as hungry and as motivated as ever and determined to make the tweaks that could see Bayern take the next step from last season, where, of course, they won the Bundesliga handsomely, it has to be said. 89 points, missed the Bundesliga record for best ever season by just 2 points. A 7-point improvement on Vincent Kompany's first season in charge. And they won the DFB Pokal for the first time since 2020 as well, beating Stuttgart in the final in Berlin 3-0, courtesy of a Harry Kane hat-trick. It was in the Champions League, they fell just short against the eventual winners, Paris Saint-Germain. Losing in the semi-finals. And the feeling amongst many Bayern fans is that had they beaten Paris Saint-Germain, Bayern would have had the beating of Arsenal as well and would have clinched European title number 7. But it was not to be, and the hope is that maybe they can go one better in the coming campaign. They brought in Nathaniel Brown from Eintracht Frankfurt. They brought in Ismail Zaibari from PSV Eindhoven as well. Zaibari unavailable right now due to the fact that he's still nursing a thigh injury from the World Cup. Suffered against France, where Morocco, one of the more enterprising and enjoyable teams to watch. Fell short of a upset. Cardoso, lovely turn of pace to get by his man. Now he needs the pass at the end of it, and the pass was there, and Asomo seemed to let it run. Armindo Zeeb has been replaced by Skender Nurai, another 16-year-old in the Bayern ranks, playing on the left wing right now. Wanted the ball pointed to where he wanted it from Kimmich, and Kimmich obliged, but he didn't quite commit to the run the way he needed to. Joshua Kimmich, who has been described as almost militaristic in his approach to football, the demands he places on his teammates in training as well as out on the pitch. Guido Della Rovere looking for a killer pass, unable to produce it. One back, Pavlovic to Brown. Asomo with the counter press. Goal kick, the end result. But that's all part of it. It's about showing Vincent Kompany you've got those hunger levels, those motivation levels, the desire, the determination needed to acquit yourself at the highest level with an elite team like Bayern. And it shows in little moments even like that. Bastian Asomo chasing down and applying a press high up the pitch. Long ball, one back by Pavlovic. At this rate, Filip Pavic will be one of the, or the only player to complete the 90 minutes. I know Cardoso's been on the pitch for the full proceedings as well. But those are the only two now. Here is Cardoso looking for his second assist. Asomo looking for his second goal. Well saved by Weiss. That's how incisive Bayern can be in the blink of an eye. It's all about the footballing education these youngsters are getting so that it fits with the senior side when they break into it eventually. The talent, the quality is there. Many of those young players have shown it, including Cardoso. Felipe Chavez scored 2 goals, got 3 assists. Cardoso has 2 goals, 1 assist. Zeeb 2 of both. And everyone chipping in on many a front. Bastian Asomo arguably got the assist and the goal himself for his goal because he won the ball back well with a high press and then found the finish at the end of the opportunity as well. Corner taken quickly by Kimmich. Dig from range and punch clear by Weiss. Asomo applies the pressure and as a result gets another corner for Bayern. And they're very wary of Bayern wanting to take short corners now. Rottach-Egern. Kimmich. Well, we know his deliveries can certainly be of much higher quality than that. One back here by Guido Della Rovere, and Asomo went for the fancy back heel. Now Cardoso tries to pick up the pieces. And this is where it's been a bit of a rough ride for Rottach-Egern, and it's difficult for them just to brush themselves off Now that they're 12-0 down and Bayern are just picking them apart, they've brought on some big-name players and they've got the quality of Joshua Kimmich, just trying to break them down now. And this is a time where many of their players are at their physical limits, having played in pretty testing conditions, but also to an intensity level that they are not used to. Is there a consolation effort, though, for Rottach-Egern? And dives in with a pretty robust challenge, but he just about got it right. He just about got the ball. There's an element of that being two-footed from Njai, so it would have not been the cleanest of challenges had he not got the ball. Denying Georg Scheuring. Maybe now feeling the effects of that rough challenge, but corner for the home team. Really would be something if they got another consolation effort. Last time it was Tobias Schlichner. Can anyone be a hero? Not on that occasion. Right now, discussions ongoing for Rottach-Egern. And again, yeah, he really is. He's now feeling the effects of that challenge from Bara Sapoko and Njai. Georg Scheuring. As a result, now Lukas Petzold, the veteran striker, is on. Meanwhile, Nathaniel Brown's taken a knock with a bit of a late challenge, but he's back up to his feet, fortunately. Nice turn there by Asomo, using his physical presence. He might be 16 years old, but he doesn't look like it out on a football pitch, does he? 1.90 m. He stands. And you've got to think he's probably got another growth spurt in him, maybe even two. Here's Njai doing it all on his own. Bara Sapoko Njai to the byline. Cross blocked behind for a corner, but that was exciting stuff from the man who's filling in at right back right now. And why not? If there's any day to try things like that as a Bayern player, today is the day. Pavlovic back out to Cardoso. First time delivery. Ooh, wicked deflection. Dealt with by Mario Weiss. Sebastian Kölbel, the latest player to come off the bench for Rottach-Egern. Nice touch from the head coach as well, that he's giving even his fringe players a chance to take to the pitch against Bayern. Veit Habersetzer is the name of the Rottach-Egern head coach. Now Bayern scored 14 the last time these two sides met, so they're too short of that tally. Plenty of time to get it. Lest we forget there was a late double in the first half that quickly took the scoreline from 4-0 to 6-0. And Jai, trying to be positive with every touch, finds Cardoso. Cardoso, lovely little cutback. Ah, just beaten to the ball, but wins the corner off of Goebel. Kimmich, chance to pick his cross. It came to Narai, but a very awkward one to deal with. But now the counter is on. Who wins the pace game? Well, the answer was a combination of Nathaniel Brown and Barasapoko Njai. It was Leo Vifan that was desperately trying to produce the solo counter-attack there for Rottach-Egern. A moment where your eyes must light up at the prospect, and then you realise, hold on, someone is bearing down on me and has a lot more pace in their locker than I do. Thump, thump, thump go the feet behind you. And gone, gone, gone is the chance you thought was brewing. Brown slides it through to Narai, but another of these 16-year-olds that has had an opportunity to learn from the senior squad members. Narendra Skender Narai, excuse me. Ultimately, some of these players quickly learning how steep the learning curve is at this level. That's a better ball, and this time Narai is on the end of it. First time cross is a good one and right in the danger area. Had to be dealt with, could have been an own goal. Results in a corner. Pavlovic weaving. Pavlovic! Making it unlucky 13 for Rottach-Egern. Lovely bit of ingenuity from Alexander Pavlovic. Weaving his way through the players towards goal, finding a pocket of space, picking his spot. Bayern 13-0 up now against Rottach-Egern. Can they match the 14 goals they scored from 2 years ago in Vincent Kompany's first game in charge? Long ball forward. Asking a lot of Matthias Kritsch there to get on the end of it. Cardoso to Pavlovic. Pretty pass from Alexander Pavlovic to Narai. Narai round the corner for Nene Brown. Just put a little too much on the pass. Pavlovic winning it back. Asomo. Cardoso touched off for Kimmich, who gets in amongst the goals himself. Josue Kimmich. And Bayern have matched the 14 goals they scored against Rottach-Egern in their first game under Vincent Kompany. 2 seasons later, and the German record title holders are once again a well-oiled footballing machine who have their aura of invincibility restored. This game is certainly not the be-all and end-all of the progress made under Vincent Kompany, but it's an interesting snapshot. One more to better their tally from 2 seasons ago, and they won't take their foot off the pedal, Bayern, there's no doubt about that. Njai with a nice ball to Pavlovic. Interesting to see Njai feature at right back, as if to say that that's a role that he could fill in the future as well. Now Cardoso. Oh, a little bit of skill from Cardoso. Kimmich, having got one, wanted a second. Pavic, the man who scored the opening goal of these 14 that Bayern have registered. Kimmich cuts back on his favoured right foot, looking for the delicate pass. Tried to find Njai. Telegraphed, intercepted. Pavlovic picks up the pieces. Pavlovic looking to make something happen again. Clipped in dangerously and headed clear at the back post. Oh, Somo! Oh, that should have been 15. It should have been his second. Perhaps surprised by the fact that the ball dropped so kindly at his feet like that. But still, the mark of a good striker is finding the clinical touch in moments like that as well. Of course, we will have a couple of minutes added on at the end of the 90 due to the fact that we've had a hydration break at the very least, but of course, 8 goals. Again, unanswered from Bayern's perspective, as the 6 in the first half were. Cardoso, low delivery cut out. Is there going to be another goal in it? Or will it be another 14-goal showing from Bayern against Rottach-Egern? Kimmich to Njai. Guido de la Rovere! Intricate But given the tight spaces, he couldn't really generate the power to beat Weiss on that occasion. But again, well played. Good determination from the young midfielder. Just lacked the finish. And that has been the case for Bayern on a couple of occasions today. Yes, they've scored 14 goals, but a more clinical touch than they would have scored more. Cardoso to Kimmich, to Pavlovic. Into the box they go. Nurai becomes the latest 16-year-old to get his name on the score sheet. Skender Nurai taking his moment and making it Rottach-Egern 0. Bayern 15. One better than 2 seasons ago. And a lovely moment to cap off proceedings for Bayern and some of his young potential future stars like Skender Nurai. In the end, they did break double digits and quite comfortably. For Rottach-Egern, it's nevertheless still a special occasion against the German record title holders. But once the goals started flowing, they never really stopped for Bayern. And yes, they're still shorn of some of their biggest World Cup stars, the likes of Harry Kane, Michael Olise, Tayo Upamecano and Luis Diaz. But the ones that got half an hour of action this evening got the job done, set the standards, and the pre-season engines are revving for Bayern München and Vincent Kompany. After a 2-1 defeat to Wien Wiesbaden, today a 15-0 win against Rottach-Egern. Stay with us for post-match reaction. We'll be hearing from Vincent Kompany and maybe, if we're lucky, a player in the Bayern ranks as well. Something tells me that the Rottach-Egern player, Georg Scheuring, is talking about that 2-footed challenge from Barasapoko Unjai. It's a good thing he won the ball, is all I'll say. Kompany there sharing a laugh with the first half goalkeeper, Kilian Zimmer, who produced a string of top saves that kept the scoreline respectable at 6-0, and now you will see the players take a moment to spend some time with the fans in whatever capacity needed. An autograph to be dished out, a photo to be taken, a smile to be shared. These things mean so much. And now you can see there in the middle of your screen, Vincent Kompany, the Bayern head coach, is joining our sideline reporter, Martin Sedlacek. So first question after the game is, how is Vincent Manuba doing? He got an injury. Yeah, I think he's all right. He's been hot and warm and cold. I think he's been training intensely and maybe just picked up a bit of cramp, but nothing too bad. What was your sporting analysis of today's friendly? I think you can always see things. We had the ball for pretty much 90 minutes against a deep-lying opponent, and even if the spaces are a little bit bigger than we're used to facing, you can see the channels being worked and the runs being made, and ultimately the flow and the rhythm, and the fact is the level will be raised in the coming weeks. How have things been down here at Tegernsee with the training camp today, with the conclusion with this friendly? Yeah, the fact is we have incredible conditions here. It's a tradition. We are Bayern, we love Bavaria, we're at home here. This feeling is something that you feel in the city, you feel it in the towns, and it's all a feeling of home. And that's why it's always a wonderful start to come here. And now the pre-season takes a more international feel with the Asian Summer Tour. How difficult is it with so many events outside of what's going on the pitch? Well, the fact is, yeah, at the end of the day, we're ultimately only really focused on the football. on our preparation, on raising our levels. Of course, we won't have all of the players there. We've still got a lot of players that need to come back. But the lads that we do have back, they're in good spirits. And at some point, things have got to start coming together, and then we've got to be ready to be there against Dortmund on August 22nd in the Super Cup. Thank you very much to Vincent Kompany. We're going to look back at some of the highlight goals that were scored. There were 15 in total. Some more eye-catching than others. And while we didn't see Manuel Neuer in action, it won't prevent him from signing an autograph or two after this pre-season friendly. He was one of the few World Cup returnees that did not feature along with his fellow goalkeeper Jonas Urbig, but those two will be the #1 and #2. And now we can take a look at the goal of the match, maybe one that Manuel Neuer wouldn't have even saved. And it came courtesy of Bara Saboko Unjai. And I mean, talk about putting your laces through the ball. That goal was a stunner. A rip-roaring effort that flew off his foot, through all the bodies in the box, and past Moritz Weiss as well. And there he is, Manuel Neuer. They're all lined up on the side of the pitch here. He's in his casual attire. There'll be nothing casual about what could be, according to him, his final season in professional football. He said that in 85% of cases, he would have retired already. But for Bayern, they are part of that 15% because things are so special with the club. Here's a look at the pre-season fixtures for the men and the women. Up next for Bayern's men, the trip to Asia. South Korea, they take on Jeju SK on the 4th of August. On the 7th, they travel to Hong Kong to take on Aston Villa. And then there's a game against Leipzig in the Telecom Cup at the Allianz Arena to savor. For the women, they are next up on Saturday against fellow Bavarian side 1. FC Nuremberg. They're back from their own tour of Asia now. And then they close out pre-season against Paris FC, which will be the official opening of the Sportpark Unterhaching, which is going to be the new home for the women's team in Europe, at least this coming season. They will still play at the campus when it comes to domestic proceedings, but for the Women's Champions League, they will be opening the doors of the Sportpark Unterhaching, which holds 15,000. Currently a few renovations going on to get things up to scratch, ready for the start of the new campaign. But exciting times for Bayern, the club as a whole, not just the men, not just the women, but everyone involved. Martin Sedlacek, our sideline reporter, bidding farewell from Tegernsee. We're not going to get an interview from a player because they are so in demand when it comes to photos and autographs. And as a result, the game of time is against us.
Oder nicht. Aber was ich euch von hier unten mitgeben kann, ich habe es gerade schon mal angerissen, also das ist schon Wahnsinn. Auch direkt mit
the fact is, the sun is setting in the south of Bavaria.
Jungs, auf geht's. Autogramme schreiben, Selfies machen.
But this is all part of Bayern respecting and cherishing the connection between them and their fans, that ability to get up close and personal here at Tegernsee. And right now, there might have been a bit of sweat shed, but the fans still want to get up close and personal with their favourite players, including the likes of Joshua Kimmich, of course. The head coach of Rottach-Egern told Martin before the game that if they keep it under 15 goals, that there would be a very successful afternoon. But the fact is, it was still a nice day out, and they can give themselves a pat on the back as well for their part played in this pre-season friendly. It is a crazy experience, and the fact is, Bayern love coming back here. There might be a few more interviews to review on the Bayern channels of choice. For now, we get to review 3 more of the 15 goals scored. A chance to take a look at some of the spectacular efforts. This was the opening goal of the second half. Maicon Cardozo, he closed the scoring in the first half. He opened it in the second, and he might be a diminutive player, but look how unmarked he was to head home that delicate delivery from out wide from Felipe Chavez. One of the Peruvians' 3 assists. And for Cardoso, it was one of the 2 goals that he scored off that right wing. No one got the hat-trick, though, today. 15 goals scored, but no one got more than 2. So we've seen the goal that made it 7-0 from Cardoso. The goal of the day was the one that made it 11-0 from Barra Sapoko and Jai. This is the one that made it 13-0. Alexander Pavlovich dipping into his little bag of tricks. He's not someone that often uses pace and trickery to beat a man, but in a pre-season friendly, he wanted to steal a headline or 2, and that was a lovely solo effort from Alexander Pavlovich. All part of a pretty stunning second half performance. This was the goal that made it 14-0, matching the efforts from 2 seasons ago. A bit of loose play from Rottach-Egern. Pavlovich was sharp. Asomo, Cardoso, and then Kimmich, the captain for club and country, getting himself in amongst the goals. Almost a trademark finish, just placed with that inside of his boot into the bottom corner. And, well, no, good news, we do have a player. Martin Sedlacek, joined by Alexander Pavlovich, one of the goal scorers. What were your first impressions of your first minutes as a Bayern player this season? You can see that everyone's really raring to go. Everyone wants to play and have a bit of fun. And even on the defensive side of things, we were still willing to put in the hard yards. These are your first few days back after the World Cup. How do you feel? Yeah, I've recovered really well. I had a nice holiday with family and friends, and I'm top fit and really looking forward to this season. So one more question, if I'm allowed. The World Cup experience, have you been able to process it and turn it into motivation? Yeah, definitely. From every setback, you have to pull the positives out of it, and I'm just looking forward to the new season, show what I'm capable of, help the team be successful, and ultimately to have fun with this team. You are a Münchner. You know what it's like to come down to Tegernsee. I don't know whether you ever had the chance to be here as a fan, but the fact is it's such a wonderful moment for everyone involved on days like today. Yeah, it is. It's a really special thing for all the young fans, old fans, and the players as well. Yes, I used to be a young kid myself looking up at these professional players, and now it's a source of pride for me to be one of those players and to be able to give the kids and the adults a little bit of joy today. Thank you very much to Alexander Pavlovich. So a bit of post-match reaction from the head coach and one of the goal scorers who added his name to the score sheet, one of the 15 goals scored. So from Tegernsee, thanks for joining us. Whatever channel you chose, we're delighted to have the pleasure of your company. James Thorogood, your match commentator. We're looking forward to the start of the new season in the Audi Summer Tour, but for now we'll take a look at some of the best pictures from the second pre-season friendly of the summer for FC Bayern München as their preparations for the 26-27 season continue in earnest. And so I'll leave you with the best pictures now. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
We will never lose our pride. We're the champions, 7 in a row. The future looks so bright. Wir sind Sieger, 90 Minuten, 11 Spieler. Feiern die Tabellenführung in der Bundesliga. Super Bayern, wir haben's verdient. 11 gute Freunde, bestes Team. What you know about 90 minutes of pressure? 90 minutes of blood. 90 minutes of passion. What you know about 90 minutes of love? Es ist Zeit. Zweite Halbzeit Applaus. Zeit, Champion zu werden aus einer Leidenschaft heraus. 29 Titel und es geht immer weiter. Wir sind deutscher Meister und der Rest kann einfahren. Calma, cabeza y el corazón. La copa para arriba, somos campeón. Todo unido, vamos luchando con vuestro apoyo. Siempre ganando por todo el amor. Gracias a la afición. Juntos gritamos todo gol, 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 gol.
Ein Sieg für die Geschichte. Stern des Südens in hellem Lichte. FC Bayern, unsere Liebe.
Wir sind deutsche Meister. Wir sind wir.
FC Bayern, unsere Liebe.
Wir sind deutsche Meister. Ja, das war gut Glück. okay, show me the route to the land of football legends, where red is the color that we're always repping. Numéro 1 sur championnat, gagne le match, t'inquiète, ça ira. Si c'est comme ça, viens, danse ma Corée. Allez, allez, allez,